Hi, I'm Tiffany, and this is Towering TBR. Today I'm going to be doing the musical theater book tag. I know I haven't been tagged, and I haven't actually seen this tag around a whole lot, but I really wanted to do it because it combines two of my loves, musical theater and books. So that's what we're going to talk about. The first question is Hamilton, satisfied. What book had an unsatisfying ending or needs a sequel? And my answer for that is The Storm of Echoes by Christine Debo. This is the fourth book in the Mirror Visitor Quartet, and this was a huge disappointment. I loved book 1 and 2, and the third one started focusing on something that I wasn't really very interested in, and yeah, by the fourth end, it didn't seem like the author knew what she was doing. It seemed like we were searching for this identity, and she was just like, oh, this character can be it. Like, I didn't put any additional thought into it. So, yeah, I was very unsatisfied with this ending and would love a fifth book to, well, nah, I don't think she could salvage it now, but this was unsatisfying. Everybody's talking about Jamie, the song Everybody's Talking About Jamie. What is a really hyped book that you only want to read because of the hype? I think that would be the Love Songs of W. Du Bois by Honore Jeffers. It is an 800 plus page book about generations from the slave trade to, I think, modern times. And honestly, I'm not picking up very many long family saga books anymore, but it has ridiculously high ratings, and some of my favorite booktubers have loved it, and so it is on my to-read list at some point that I'm going to read solely because of the hype. The third is Anastasia Journey to the Past. Name a book that features flashbacks or developed backstories. And for that, I am going to pick 100 Years of Lenny and Margot by Marianne Cronin. This is a story about Lenny, who's 17, and she's in the hospital on the terminal ward, and she befriends an elder woman named Margot, and we get a lot of flashbacks of Margot's story and also of Lenny's story, why she's there alone, and yeah, it's a sweet friendship, and so many people haven't heard of this. It came out, I think, a year ago, and definitely needs to be read more because it was great. Be More Chill, Michael in the Bathroom. If you were escaping a party by hiding in the bathroom, what book would you take? First, I love that song. And second, I would take Broken in the Best Possible Way by Jenny Lawson. She deals with a lot of anxiety and depression herself, and if I was feeling anxious, this would be the best book to pick up. Although, it might raise some eyes if I'm cackling from the bathroom from laughter. So, yes, this is the book I would pick. 6. Ex-Wives. Name a book with a twist or a retelling of a known story. I would pick The Magic Fish. This is a story of a young man and his mother as they've immigrated to the United States, and they read fairy tales in order to brush up on their English. And he also uses the retelling of fairy tales to try and come out to his mom because he feels like he can't really tell her, and so he keeps trying to drop these hints. And it's a beautiful story, and I loved it. The Last 5 Years Still Hurting. What book hurt you and has since stuck with you? that would have to be Bastard Out of Carolina by Dorothy Allison. This is an amazing book, but it deals with a lot of hard subjects. The book is about Bone. Her real name is Ruth Ann, but they call her Bone. And her mother has her out of wedlock, and so she's called a bastard all the time. And when her mother finally does marry, he marries the stepfather who sexually and physically abuses Bone. It is really quite a sad but poignant story. And yeah, it still has hurt. There is a movie adaptation with Jenna Malone as the main character, and I actually saw that before I read this book. And I would recommend both, although I like this story better. Come From Away, Me and the Sky. Pick a book that features your dream job, real or fantastical. I guess I put a lot of thought into this, and I think that I would like to be a magical bookbinder, like in the book The Binding by Bridget Collins. This magical apprentice learns how to bookbind, and he can help people store their memories in a book and kind of erase them so that they can get a clean start. Sort of reminds me of the movie The Sunshine of the Eternal Spotless Mind with Jim Carrey in it. But yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun, learning how to magically bind books. Newsies Santa Fe. What fictional place would you like to visit? That, without a doubt, would be Nevermore. This is a fun, magical series that has so many things I would love to enjoy. The Christmas spectacular would be so much fun. I would love to go to the Hotel Deucalion and see the Magic Hat, which is a giant talking sentient cat. And then the parties that the vampire throws. Just seems like a fun and magical place, and I would love to travel there. Waitress, When He Sees Me. What book did you fall in love with the second you saw the cover? I couldn't pick one answer for this, so I picked two. Both of these books, The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune and Boy Swallows Universe by Trenton Dalton, are both such beautiful books that also turned out to be 5 stars. So, House in the Cerulean Sea is about Linus, who is a magical social worker, and he makes a trip out to check on an orphanage with some magical kids, and it's hilarious and heartwarming and sweet, and I just love it. I can't say enough good stuff about it. And Boy Swallows Universe is about a teen growing up with incredibly dysfunctional relationships, and he's just, I don't know, he's a very likable character, and you just root for him in some of these unfortunate situations. Dear Evan Hansen, Disappear, Hype and Unrated Backlist Book. That has to be Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo. This is a story set in Nigeria about a woman and a man, and they're married, and they're trying to have children. And while polygamy is common where they live, they've made the decision to be monogamous until his parents decide to step in and marry him off to a second wife. And yeah, the rest of the story is what happens after that. It's so well written, and there are a lot of actual twists, which I was not expecting in this literary fiction title. But yeah, it is underrated. I think it did get nominated for the Women's Prize at some point, like 2017 maybe. but still, I haven't heard very many people talk about it, and it is amazing. So definitely an underrated title. Legally Blonde. What you want. What do you want to see more of in books? I want to see more authors calling out toxic relationships and not pretending that that's what we should focus on. And I also would like to see more books with really strong friendship groups. I love finding out about a group of friends who are, real and helpful and positive and make your world better. So maybe it's just the books I'm seeking out right now are not full of friendships. The last one is a bonus. Pick your favorite musical and recommend a book that reminds you of it. So this was actually harder than I thought it would be. And I wouldn't say Rent is my absolute favorite musical, but I do love it. And so I decided to pick a book that reminded me of Rent, and that's Christadora by Tim Murphy. It follows the inhabitants of this building, the Christadora. They live in New York, and there are drugs and HIV and different relationships and groups. And so, yeah, it sort of reminds me of Rent, although it's totally great on its own as well. So, yeah, that was the musical theater book tag. Tell me, what musicals do you love? And are you interested in picking up any of these books? Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.